you will get, in addition, Wanted Poster, which is a 2-mana spell. Discover a minion that costs 5 or more. Give it Prepare. This is quite random, so I don't know what we're playing this in.
I'll tell you what you're playing in. You're playing in Quest Mage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Oh, no. Why?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's real good in Quest Mage.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Because that's guaranteed this is a big board.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Now, fortunately, everything else about the mini set is going to, just steamroll Quest Mage. Welcome to episode 560 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Thursday, August 19th, 2026 in the evening. Coming to you from Nomergon, Ohio, it's me, Edelweiss. From North Bend, Massachusetts, we have Wicked Good.
Hi.
From Teldersill, California, we have Megesa.
Hello.
And from all around the world, we have you, dear listeners. This week's episode is brought to you by our producers, Number Theory, Crash, Beef Squatch, David P., Jeremy T., Bottle Caps, Grumpy Monk, The Burger Club, Kirk Regan, May, NY Kiwi, Spine, Grizzly Bear, and by our patrons of the week, Joaquin Pran and Prakash. You can go to patreon.com/coinconcede to get perks like a thank you at the top of the show, bonus post-show content, early access to new episodes, and help support the show in the process. If you'd like to support the show but cannot do so monetarily, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on a podcast of your choice. This always helps other people find the show. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. So, Life and Ladder, I was playing a bunch of an ill-advised deck, which is Razadh. Because, things slowed down a bit, so I tried it again. There's, I guess, different, I don't know, saw that Demo Shadow was playing, a different version earlier. I guess, only 4 tradables in that one, so it was more well, let's run these other more powerful cards to use as ways of keeping yourself alive and drawing through your deck, and then you don't need that many tradables if you've only got a few cards in your deck anyway. So yeah, Pocket says he doesn't think it's a good deck, so I don't know if we'll see it or if maybe someone will find the list, but it's fun to try.
Its overall win rate on Ageless Guru is the lowest of anything.
That sounds right. Well, because it's the kind of thing that's fun and people are going to try, but they shouldn't, Yeah.
Especially if you don't know what you're doing. Because that's the kind of deck where there's 5 people who really know how to pilot it.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are going to have a ridiculous win rate. And everybody else is going to see them doing it. And they're going to try and they're going to fall flatly on to their nose.
Yeah.
And or step on a rake on the way down. So
yeah. So I was playing a Quest Demon Hunter from listener Alteris, which, because the Soul Immolation, see, we're already spoiling news, got buffed to 2 mana, the new hero power, and that's another way to deal 2 damage, right? I don't think I was quite playing this deck right, but my one win was against Clark, who was playing Razadh, and I will say, he played it very well. First of all, he recognized that if he didn't play minions, I didn't have targets to complete my quest. And he executed the pop-off turn, as far as I could tell, totally correctly. He just didn't get the second Soul Immolation that he needed until really late. It was at the bottom of his deck. So it was only doing 2 instead of 3, and I had a board. So he was 1 hero power away from killing me. But one of the things on my board had been the Garishi Wasp that gives you stingers every time it gets damaged. So I had 6 Garishi stingers in my hand. And that was exact lethal with my hero power. He was at 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was a game. But I would say there might be something there if you're really good at APM decks. There also might not. But otherwise, if you're not really good at APM decks, it is almost certainly not the right call. Unless you're you know what, Megesa? Games are supposed to be fun, and I'm going to have fun with this. And if that's what you're thinking, please go for it. Because games are supposed to be fun. So
that is a radical sentence, and I don't know if we can endorse that kind of a statement on this kind of a podcast.
Even after last week's peon to good mental health?
Oh, we're past that now. Now the meta's fixed, so we're we're past mental health. It's back to the grind again. which I say because I've been playing like various flavors of Warlock for the past like 2 days, which is probably not the best thing that I could be doing, but there's going to be plenty of time for that, and I've actually been able to at least like go even with them. There was one that was just like a straight control list that just wants to annihilation with 8/8s and then kill people with that in Hellfire. And there's also a Rafam list, which is probably not good, but it is fun. And the Rafams are viable. Like they're decent. I feel like we have this conversation every time that Rafam comes up. Like if you can find a reasonable shell for it, like the Rafams work. At least with Godfrey, it's a little bit better because you don't have to worry about burning them. Not that like, oh, I did lose to a Rafam lethal in the mirror today, which is
wow,
quite the sentence for a whole lot of reasons.
I mean, I will say on both HS Guru and HS Replay, Rafam luck is positive for like the first time ever, possibly, or maybe it has been before, but it's like it is like totally legit now. And also just like Herald Warlock without Rafam is actually doing even better. Sometimes with the demons, and sometimes just like I had a very long game today against one that was like just a handlock. I don't know if they were trying to fatigue me or if they were trying to just like, I mean, the locations do get big minions out for them if like that was the main game plan. I was a druid, so I had 32 armor at the end, but they did successfully get rid of a lot of my stuff.
I mean, I guess you've like got Deathwing, I assume, right? And so like that
you
shuffles
do.
in
That's
dragons.
generally how you close things out. Yeah.
And
yeah.
You also have Cho'Gall at this point, which
are they running Cho'Gall? The list that I was playing didn't have Cho'Gall, but that wouldn't surprise me if it was starting to run it.
If they didn't have the demon stuff, then I feel like they must have had Cho'Gall, but maybe not.
Looks like the popular list.
By the demon stuff, do we mean like Imp Gang, Stooge, and Annihilation?
Yes.
Or what?
Yeah.
They're not running. Yeah, I guess that. I mean, when I was playing it, Annihilation didn't feel like it was too slow. It might be now because I was starting to see a lot more Burn Mage and a lot more. The Shamans are fine because they build a big board and you Hellfire it, and then they kind of shrug. A lot of the time, like sometimes they can deal with it, but one Hellfire sometimes just deletes an early Shaman board, and they may not have refill all the time. But I was starting to have a little bit more trouble with that as it was going. That's when I ended up looking and seeing the Rafam version was doing a little bit better. But yeah, either way, I mean, Annihilation is a very good card, especially if you can get the demons on the bottom of it. Just like, I mean, also I just like having access to an actual board clear, which is such a rare sight in 2026 Hearthstone that being able to play a deck with a legitimate board clear felt nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there were some decks that I was playing against where just going like tap Unseen Atlas felt like I was just setting myself up to be just destroyed immediately. So it was starting to feel a little bit worse. But again, we're recording this on Thursday. By the time you're listening to this, it'll be almost a full week since the balance changes, and things may have changed significantly, which is why also, I guess we're just spoiling all the news. There's also going to be class sets. So like, this is like a weird 1 week meta anyway. So
why do we talk about these things properly?
Why don't we just do it?
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Just real quick. I have not had my turn. So first of all, if people are wondering where I was last week, I won't bore you with details because we have a very full episode. But I was out of town visiting family up in Oregon. Was very lucky not to get smoked out by the wildfires up there. And we had a lovely time, and we bought too many books, and now we're shopping for new bookcases. For anyone who's not familiar, Portland has a bookstore called Powell's City of Books that it is an entire city block of books. So multiple stores. Yeah.
If my wife ever hears this, she's going to immediately be buying like plane tickets to Portland. So
it was, I mean, there was lots of people. It was very popular. At any rate, I've been playing a little bit of everything. Z Shaman's totally still good. I was playing a lot of that in previous weeks. But I've been trying out other things. Soothsayer is better again. It's not the best thing you can do for sure, but it is better again. I had a game, I did want to briefly mention this game, against listener Arthurius. They were on Quest Mage, which does have the ability to discover its way out of, anything sometimes. So I had a slightly slow start, but I was like, even a Quest Mage cannot possibly get out of a turn 7 prepped Soothsayer plus 2 prepped of the +5/+5 lifesteal, plus a combined Schism. So I had 2 18-19 elusive lifesteal taunts. I did not win that game. Oof. Because they got so many taunts. And so they just I couldn't get it face. They kept kind of whittling it down. And eventually I kept going after that. It was pretty close, but they were going to the rope every turn because there were so many decisions to make.
I thought you were going to say that they just found devolving missiles off of the Discover Spells from the past and just devolved them into frogs or whatever.
Yeah, no, they actually earned it. They actually earned their victory this time, I will say. The other short story that I want to tell about my misadventures this time, and then the rest will go into news, is I ran into an egg paladin, which there are several very low sample size egg paladin decks on HS Guru. It's not really about the egg. The egg is there for that Hand of Infinity, infinite attack weapon combo that we mentioned a long time ago. You have the weapon that can't attack heroes but gets infinite attack for a turn. And then you have Bloodsail Raider, which gains attack equal to the attack of your weapon. And then you have Judgment, which sets everything to infinite attack as long as you target it correctly on your Bloodsail Raider. And then you have an egg on your board because there's no way they've cleared that. So then you go face for infinite. And the rest of your deck is draw and Wild Pyromancer, Consecration, Equality, stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. And they drew their whole deck and then they killed me.
Ouch.
Yeah. Usually when it's something weird like that, it's I don't know what's happening, but I have a bad feeling I'm about to find out in a hurry.
Yep, exactly. So the sample size is too low to really know whether this is good or not. But listener, I have a link to a filter on HS Guru that will find you these decks if you want to try them out. But overall, I would say on the one hand, well, I'll talk about overall reactions to this balance patch in news, where we're supposed to talk about reactions to the balance patch.
Hey, why don't we do that then?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Yeah, so we had quite the balance patch on Tuesday. So we thought we were kind of wondering if we were going to get it last week, and we did not because this one took a little bit longer to cook, and for good reason. There's also a dev insight video. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. They had some insights about how they do the balance patches, but they were also very focused on the class sets, which we will talk about in explanations. But we have a whole bunch of pretty impactful changes. We're not necessarily going to talk about them all individually, except, well, there's one that we probably will, but they're mostly these cards did crimes. For the most part, this was. And I think the other context that's here is that we do have Worlds in a couple of weeks, and we cannot have a meta like we've had for the past couple months going into Worlds. It would be a miserable, miserable event. So I think whatever that they had to do, maybe they have one more window, I would assume, between the class sets and Worlds, but they're going to have to balance the class sets also, and they don't want to be having to address this meta at the same time. So knowing that they needed to take a little bit more bold action, and there are more rework style changes in this patch than we've seen in quite a while. They were kind of creative, especially on the buff side, I would say, with some of the changes that they made instead of just tweaking numbers here and there, because some of these cards needed a little bit more than that.
One thing that they said in the dev update video was that the overall speed of the meta was running faster than they would prefer. And the changes they made in this balance patch, quote, specifically target cards that contribute to the explosive early turns in decks like Mug Shaman and Tripwire Hunter. So it was a little bit of a going towards the very fast speed of the meta. And I will say, even though I am someone who was having a good time with a fast meta, yeah, at least at the end there, it was also a pretty limited format. And at least from what I've been seeing, there do seem to be, while Z Shaman is still very good, there do seem to be a lot of people playing slower decks. I don't know if it'll settle exactly there, and certainly there are faster decks as well, but in the early meta, there's a lot going on, and I think the average the average game length is probably a little longer.
Yeah. Well, it's also that the way that it's fast is kind of more one-dimensional, which means you can tech against it. I think the way that things were fast in the previous meta were complete, like the 3 decks, if you're going to count like both of the shamans, is basically the same thing, which I know they're not, but for purposes of this conversation, they're close enough. And then Rogue and Hunter, they were doing things very differently, right? Like Hunter was building up a big board, but the big board wasn't really the answer. The answer was just hitting you with a lot of tripwires really fast. It was just like a lot of burn damage. While the shamans were generally trying to build up a big board and beat you up before you had a chance to respond to it. They could go long, but they would prefer not to if they don't have to, right? And Rogue was kind of not doing a whole lot, and then all of a sudden exploding on like turn 5 or 6 with 8 drops. Those are 3 very different strategies that are very hard for a control deck that doesn't have a ton of tools in the early game to begin with. Like you can attack one of those axes, but not all 3. Right. So any attempt at like playing a control strategy meant that you could probably deal with one of those, but then get bodied by the other 2. And then it just wasn't worth playing. So then you just kind of had to give up and join them. So I think it's more of not so much that it was fast, but like it was fast in 3 completely different ways that made it hard for anything that wasn't that fast to keep up. But anyway, so the specific things that they're changing. So Warden Maiev is going from 1/4 to a 1/3 to make it a little bit easier to remove it, because that is a minion that, if it sticks, just starts to snowball. We have Galagio Goon for Z Shaman. That's the one that after you play a Battlecry minion, it gives it +1/+1. Is going from a 1 mana 1/3 to a 2 mana 2/3. So still keeping the same toughness. You can still remove it just as easily, but it's getting a little bit more attack in exchange for the increase in cost.
And you still play it. You do not drop it.
Yeah. It's still good. It's still fine. Mug's Magic, the hero power for the spell side of Mugsy, now unlocks on turn 3. So you can play as many discover a minion spells as you want on turn 1 or 2. You will not be able to play them immediately without coining a 1-drop. And you're not going to be able to get that big cheating of stats early that you can allow to snowball the board. This is some tech that has existed in Battlegrounds for a while that's now making its way over to Constructed, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we had talked about as like a possible option for them, but we weren't sure if they were going to go for a rework like that. But I like that, as opposed to like if you just make it discount by 1, then that's really a big hit to the deck for the entire game, when really the biggest problem with the deck was like turn 1, turn 2 is you're just done with the explosive turn. I don't know if that, I mean, it's still probably a pretty hard hit to it. It does seem to have hurt the win rate considerably because it was kind of a scam deck.
Yeah. I mean, it was trying to just, because if you didn't get a discover a minion on the early turns, you gave up a lot of your power, and it gets that 2 mana discount just gets considerably worse as the game goes on. Like it's not nothing, but like if you're cheating, if you're 2 mana ahead on turn 1, that's very different than being like 4 or 6 mana ahead on, like being 6 mana ahead on turn 4. I mean, I guess it is the same, but you're unlikely to be that much ahead just because you're not going to be discovering minions on every single turn, right? So eventually you're going to lose that mana advantage, and then your opponent's going to catch up. But if you can snowball that mana advantage on turns 1 and 2, then you can generally get ahead enough that maybe you just need to get a little bit over the line. But without that early advantage, you're just going to be behind from the beginning for the most part. So the other, Jay's Guardians went from 3 mana to 5 mana. Good. Like the card was too strong at 3. It's going to be unlikely that a rogue's going to be able to play 2 copies of it on the same turn early, which this does affect, even with a preparation. Certainly with a preparation. That's still going to be 8 mana, which is going to be hard for them to do that early, and they're not going to necessarily be able to do other things before it. I've not seen very much Jade Guardians. I started seeing Vanessa again from rogues. You know, or just plain just going back to just imbue 52 pickup type of decks. But yeah, Jade Guardians, it's a pretty hard hit, but that card was too strong to begin with. So
I do think that with prep, like, it is still playable. I've been playing my 2 rogue with Aya, and basically the change I made was I added a Garona's Last Stand and Admiral Hooktusk to go with the Aya, and like that's it.
Oh, you're not running the dragon that makes the treasure chest?
That is Admiral Hooktusk, isn't it?
Oh, that is Admiral Hooktusk. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that just makes sense. I've been bodied by Aya a few times over the past. We'll get to her too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It looks like 2 rogue with the Jade Guardians is still totally playable, and as we'll talk about later, rogue is getting a class set. And yeah, I have seen some Herald rogues. I did get Twilight Mistress when I was playing Soothsayer Priest, to my chagrin, we shall say. That's running around. But yeah, I mean, Jade Guardians, it just helps with the blowout of they have 2 of them in the same turn.
Yeah.
And now they have 4 8-drops. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might take them an extra turn to get it out just because they can't get it down to free and then just play it right after. They might have to play it when the minions still cost 1 or 2. If they want to get it on the earlier turn, they have to make an actual choice, right? Instead of just getting all the minions for free on the same turn that they're finishing up their quest, their pseudo quest for that for the Jade Guardians. So, and then we get to Hunter. So first of all, the simpler change. Arcane Tripwire is going from 5 damage split among all enemies to 4 damage split among all enemies. Arcane Tripwire is a lot. If you've played it all over the past month, I don't think that that's a super surprise. It's 1 damage, but it's 1 damage times 6, right? Because typically they're playing both copies of Tripwire, and then they're also generally recasting all the copies out of the deck. So it's a net 6 damage less that it's going to do over the course of the game, which is significant. I think the damage output was too high given how consistently the Hunter was able to get all the tripwires out of the deck. And one of the ways that they were consistently getting the tripwires out of the deck was Confront the Trollveer, which now says your charge minions have +1 attack. No, that's not what it says. But it is changed from 5 mana, replay all 1 cost cards you played this game, targets enemies if possible, to 4 mana, summon each 1 cost minion you've played this game. So this is effectively deleted. You can play it to build a board. It is valid there, but it is not doing nearly the same job that it was doing when it was replaying all the spells, which would be drawing new cards, replaying the weapon to get more tripwires out of your deck, setting opposing minions' health to 1 along the way, firing off direct damage at enemies, like all of the things that it did that you were actually playing it for. Like the minions were like, there's maybe a use case that you want to use this as a build-a-board in a different kind of deck, but that's not what those decks were looking for Confront the Trollveer to do.
Yeah, I think when it was at 3, it was used a little bit more as, I mean, it was broadly used generally, right? But I think there was more of a tendency to be like, well, my first couple turns, I played some really good 1-drops. Now I'm just going to play it on turn 3 to replay those 1-drops. It feels to me like the safest choice, right? I think there were some others that in the short term, I might have liked different changes, but this is just the surefire way that they don't have to design around Trollveer in the future. And while it may not be used right now, there's still a possibility that there down the line we get some really good 1-drops, that there's again another like heavily board based aggro hunter that does use Confront the Tol'vir and, you know, plays out a bunch of 1-drops in the early game and then throws out Confront for that board in a box. I feel like that is still potentially like worth playing in the future.
Yeah, and I mean, I was having a long discussion in the Discord about this. In some ways, I might have preferred if they had done something like plays. One suggestion that I saw was play your last 5 1-cost cards, or something like that. That might be a little too much. Like, it adds some extra strategy, maybe a little too much cognitive load. But if it was a limited number of 1-cost, then you also kind of have to like curate what 1-cost you're playing, or like your last 5 different 1-cost cards or something. This is safer though, in that they know that they have really changed this sentiment outlier that has been really strong in a relatively limited meta for a little too long, and does a crazy amount of stuff all in one turn. So it did make a difference that it was more expensive, like in terms of its power, but it didn't make a difference to how it felt to face it or the amount of stuff that it did. So I can see if them wanting to just be like, you know what, this Hunter deck has had its time in the sun. We don't want to have to worry about, you know, they've already nerfed it twice before this, so now 3 times. If they go with a less safe change, they might still have to be nerfing it. That's not a narrative that they want. But I also really sympathize to people who are disappointed about this. I certainly might have preferred a slightly different change, but I also understand this one, and there is a possibility it'll be used. Also, Hunter is one of the best classes right now if you play Quest Hunter.
Oh, yeah. But
I feel like people would have found this earlier if the VS podcast wasn't on hiatus, because World 8 has been talking about this in our Discord for a few weeks now, at least.
Yeah.
But this meta has given it the time to shine. This is Agamagan Contraband Quest Hunter. You can also take Krog in a pinch.
I'll take a list.
It probably also just kind of needed those 2 turns that the meta slowed down. I don't know if it's actually 2 turns, but I'm just kind of throwing out a number based on feel. Like,
feels like it.
You know, yeah, like 2 turns. If the meta's 2 turns slower, I think that's a deck that really benefits from that. It probably was able to squeak out some wins in the previous meta, but not consistently enough. And now that it has a couple extra turns to be able to get going and find its pieces, then it can do things a little bit more. But I think,
and Watfin is excellent for this deck. Watfin is a 3-attack beast for 2 mana.
God.
That becomes a 4/3.
Now I have to play this, don't I? Oh God. Ugh. You've been talking to Sidisi again, haven't you? You've been conspiring. I can see how it's working.
I will put the list in the show notes. But it's also findable on stat sites, because it is like right up there in terms of power right now.
I'm not sure they needed to do the tripwire change alongside this Tol'vir change, because this Tol'vir change is such a substantial hit to Hunter's card draw. And if you aren't drawing cards as effectively, tripwire isn't as good, because you may never see those pieces. And not just if you aren't drawing cards as effectively, if you aren't getting extra weapons, because you're no longer putting that 1-cost weapon in the Tol'vir. So I could have done without the tripwire hit. I feel like just the Tol'vir one would have been enough. Because if you think about it, what Tol'vir did was it turned what were otherwise cantrips, these just like 1 mana draw card, tracking and tame pet, into an investment that down the line your Tol'vir is going to draw you 2 or 3 cards. That's a substantial amount of draw for Hunter, alongside, you know, the location that makes a couple of loot hoarders, and just the fact that the initial playing of the tracking and the tame pet draw you a card. Like, Hunter was seriously drawing through their entire deck. And if you're not doing that, tripwire already gets worse.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can also see, like, they don't have that many windows to balance. Yeah. And they just wanted to be sure, right? Like, Hunter has been a force in the meta since rotation, pretty much. Like, we're talking about when Confront the Tol'vir cost 3, but that was also before it had tripwires, right? So I think they just wanted to be sure that there wasn't something else that was going to be able to like power out the tripwires and make sure that if they're making a change like this, that it's actually going to affect a change in the meta. That it's going, I mean, the goal for this is diversity at the end of the day. We haven't had a diverse meta since this expansion launched.
That's true.
We've had 3 classes at any given time that were viable in the meta, and Hunter was always one of those 3 in each one of those 3 metas that we've had. So I think knocking down that deck to be sure, even though it's a little bit harsh, but it kind of earned it. And that way we make sure that at least if we're going to get more different things out, that it's not going to be another variation of this deck that they've already attempted to nerf a couple of times.
It is a shame for anyone who had that ladder ready deck, because like this deck was like the best ladder ready deck for a while now.
Then you get to learn about dust refunds.
Yeah. I guess the thing for me is like I want to be more lenient with new cards generally, right?
I mean, you could make an argument that Arcane Tripwire being played as much as it has makes it less new than something that has come out for, say,
I guess.
Warlock in the last expansion.
Like, you know, Warp Tooth got hit and then Warrior evaporated. And I do not think that was the way to change Warp Tooth, right? If they had to change it, I would have just affected the health, because making it harder to pull out just makes it hard to run, period. Now, I don't know that that's the case with Tripwire, but going from 5 to 4 is, if you think about the full use of the card, like from 15 to 12. But I think you're already probably not getting all 3 every time because of the hit to Tol'vir. And,
yeah, I agree with that. I think I can see why they did it the way they did, but the Tol'vir by itself also hits the tripwires.
Yeah, it probably does. But also, if somebody finds a way to get all those consistently again, that is 30 damage, right? That is literally, I mean, yeah, not all of it hits face, but you have a hero power that does the rest of it. So like making it so that just those 2 cards by themselves can't solo a player probably makes sense, even absent the Confront the Tol'vir change.
just have minions, dude.
Don't you guys have minions?
Yeah. Okay, exciting part. The buffs.
Yeah, so we did get a bunch of buffs, and some that are more reworky than others. So Aya now, instead of getting 2 counterfeit coins, now gets 3. I have definitely seen some Ayas over the last couple days, and the 3 does make a difference.
I think it especially makes a difference for the Jade selection.
Yes. That's all I've seen is the Jades. That's literally the only thing I've seen people pick.
Because being able to immediately go 1, 2, 3 is a massive step up from just 1, 2. It's double the stats, right? You still basically never pick the one that deals 2 damage to minions. I don't know why it works the way it does. That could probably be a random shot that goes anywhere. But yeah, and then an extra potion is an extra potion, right? Like I think that one's still sort of the flex one that you like sometimes pick when you need to affect the enemy board. But yeah, the Jades have felt way better with that change. And if you're doing Jades, you kind of want to be doing the treasure chest and Corona's Triumph, Corona's Last Stand.
One of those. Yeah.
One of those. I
think it's Last Stand.
Okay.
Depends on who's writing the story, I suppose.
Tough beats for Corona. Side note, Warcraft came to D&D. I still can't get over that.
And Star Wars apparently is coming too. That's a whole other thing.
It's further in the future.
Yeah.
I think the Warcraft one is
we will have to do like a bonus episode. But anyway.
Yeah.
Or really just an Edel makes a bonus episode.
Yeah. And anyway, Blazing Invocation, they reverted the nerf. It discounts again now that it doesn't matter for Z Shaman as much. For Mug Shaman as much, rather.
It's so funny.
It can discount it again.
Because we say reverted, but it's going back to the buffed state, because like they put it in core and buffed it, and then they took away the buff, and now they gave the buff back.
Okay. Well, whatever it is, it's back. So you get your discount back. Soul Immolation, which is the new event set card for Demon Hunter, that your hero power becomes Collapsing Star. It was 3 mana, now it's 2 mana. So that's 1 mana cheaper if you're doing the math at home.
I think that is significant.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Even though Raza DH is not a good deck.
It
but
felt tough to squeeze in before, and now not so bad. I do wonder if someone will find a refined list that then 3 people will be able to play and 1 will bring to the World Championship. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, speaking of 3 people finding a list, Iridescent Sinseeker now leaves 1 card behind when she blows up your deck. This is the one with the 7/7 lifesteal for 4 with Battlecry, send your deck to the void, except for, well, now it says except for 1 card. And at the start of your turns, you get 2 cards in the void. So you are delaying going into fatigue by 1 turn now. Because fatigue is a compounding damage over, each turn that you fatigue, you take more. Delaying that by a turn does cut down on the net damage that you're going to take over the remainder of the game, and does give you kind of significantly more time than it seems like it ought to, just when you add up all the damage that you're going to have taken from fatigue over the subsequent turns.
The other thing that it does is that first draw, you get 3 cards, not just 2. Like, the very fact that you do take fatigue, right, also means that if you're not taking fatigue and you have something to draw, you get your draw for the turn alongside the 2 cards from the void. So it gives you a little extra burst of refill. I wonder if this is a card that, like, they're trying to make happen, and actually it's fine, but it's just Demon Hunter needs the, like, turbo no-hand aggro deck to run it, and that's just not what they have right now.
Yeah. Well, also, players typically don't like cards with significant downsides unless there's a clear way to circumvent it. I mean, there is some of that in Demon Hunter set. Like, there's the one that deals 2 damage and shuffles a random Demon Hunter spell into your deck, and if it's outcast, and it shuffles another. Like, there are some of those, but not enough to keep people from being scared away by this. So I think making it a little bit less scary is also just part of the job of getting people just to try it in the first place. Again, it's hard to say how much people would have been trying this before if they weren't getting murdered by tripwires and giant shaman minions on turn 4 or turn 5. But even then, it was a hard proposition in that meta to also be taking fatigue damage while you're also getting hit above the head and shoulders by everything else that was going on. But it also probably just needed the help to get people to try it in the first place.
I think it is going to take a, like, deck tops out at 4 aggro deck for this to see play.
Maybe this is them trying to say they feel like they do have a list internally and they're just waiting for us to find it. Or maybe it's just trying to make fetch happen and it's not going to happen. I honestly am not sure.
Yeah. But I mean, if I would say if this is probably the last chance for Irida, like, if this doesn't work, I'd be surprised if they're going to keep going back to the well. Like, some of these things you can buff, you can buff things only so much, and then eventually get to a point where just changing numbers isn't going to affect the actual, like, intent of the card if that's just not something that people want to. So going along with that, by the way, Hellraiser, which is a taunt. Well, it now is a taunt. It was a 3 mana 2/2 with Battle Cry. Discover a card in your deck. If it's empty, you get +4/+4 instead. Now it gets taunt, so it's a 3 mana 6/6 with taunt, which is a much bigger deal than just a 3 mana 6/6 when you're already burning yourself in the face from taking fatigue damage. So that is also something that's helping that deck. I ran into one of them and they had that. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that having taunt, because it didn't. And that was kind of a brick wall, given how early they got that out. Crowd Control, which is the warrior spell. It used to do 2 damage and then another 2 damage conditionally if you had 25 or more cards in your deck for 3 mana. Now it's going to 5 mana. It's always going to do 2 damage twice, but it will discount by 2 if you have 25 or more cards in your deck. So it's swapping the additional potency of the card for the cost of it, which is an interesting way to rework it. I haven't seen it, but it's an interesting way to rework it.
I did run into a couple slow warriors that were probably trying this because of this change. I do think they might have a little bit of trouble with like West Hunter. I'm not sure how that matchup is, but anything that can really take advantage of something having a slower start. But I like this change a lot because it was always so hard. I think to like you want that extra damage more later in the game, but you're a lot less likely to be able to meet that condition in the original version of it. Now it's like really good early, like you can play it early or you can play it late. And it's a proper board clear, not a huge board clear, but a proper board clear both ways.
Like Pepperidge Farm remembers when Lightning Storm did 2 to 3 damage.
Oh God, that was so brutal.
Oh, and it would inevitably roll 2 when you needed it to roll 3, and it was random. By the way, I'm selling this as a history lesson because people have forgotten that Lightning Storm didn't always just do 3 damage. It did 2 or 3 damage to each minion randomly, and I think it chose for each minion what it was going to do, and it was maddening. And then they finally buffed it to just make it do 3 damage all the time so that you didn't have to worry about, is this going to be the Lightning Storm that screws me or not? So like having the card do everything that it's going to do, even if it just costs more, is better than having it sometimes be useful and then sometimes not, especially a card like this that would become less useful later in the game when you needed it to do more.
Yeah.
Just didn't make sense. So, and then Volcanos, which is the Mage Colossal, he used to do 2 damage to all other minions. Now he does 3. And the plumes were 1/4s, but now they've gone up to 1/5s to account for the additional damage that they're taking. So it's a 7 mana 4/8 that at the end of your turn does damage to all other minions, and then the plumes will, whenever it takes damage, will give you a random fire spell that costs you 3 less. So they're getting the additional health to compensate for the fact they're getting hit a little bit harder by Volcanos' ability. I have seen this in Burn Mages. It seems good. I mean, it was probably always good. But 3 damage is much better at clearing a board than 2 damages at any point in the game.
Yeah, and Burn Mage is looking like it's a decent deck right now. So if you enjoy Burn Mage, this only helps it. It has a positive win rate into Z Shaman, and it does well into Quest Hunter, which a lot of decks do not right now. And it does well into Warlock. It super loses to Attack Druid, and it does have a somewhat polarized
armor is
list.
No bueno for that deck. Because the Attack Druid just gets a ton of armor, and you just can't burn through it.
And Priest is hard because Priest has a ton of healing. So it is a little polarized, but the Volcanos does help a lot with reach.
And or the Priest starts at 40 health and also brings burning you down in the process, if they're Azalina.
Yeah, I think it's just like it makes the Volcanos easier to play this way, because before, like 2 damage just is hard to make clear things, whereas 3 actually kind of does something to the board more of the time. So like you're still ending up with 1/2s of the appendages after you play it, but it just becomes much easier to play if you get more out of that AoE.
And along with that, Trixie Improviser, which is the minion for Mage with Prepare. It used to be a 4 mana 4/4, and if you cast a spell this turn, cast a random Mage Secret. Now it's a 5 mana 4/3, but if you cast a spell this turn, you cast 2 random Mage Secrets. And I have seen that, and it's been better. It's certainly casting 2 that's 100% more than 1. So that is a lot better. And getting 2 Mage Secrets makes it harder to play around both of them. So it means that your opponent has to try more things, because if they don't just like swing face and trip an ice barrier, then they're home free, they still have to test for everything else. So it does make a difference having an additional secret there in terms of disrupting your opponent.
Yeah.
Finally, we have Druid. Staff of Trickery, which is the weapon for Druid, which after your hero attacks, discover a Druid card, reduce its cost by your hero's attack. Got an additional durability, so it discovers one additional card. And Infest the Scullery, which is, it's a spell for Druid. It used to say 4 mana, summon a random 4-cost minion, improved by your hero attacks this game. It now says 5 mana, summon 2 random 3-cost minions, improved by your hero attacks this game. So you get a little mini Jade Guardians, or a little 3-spell Violet Hold is probably the better comparison there. But it starts a little bit slower. It starts lower, and then you have to build it up more. But that hasn't seemed to be a problem, given the number of attack druids that are out there on ladder. It seems like they are having just a fine time with having to do 1 extra attack to get them back up to 8 drops where they want them.
Yeah, that's the best deck that I've done with so far since the patch. I went 8-2 with an attack Marithra Druid. I did have some luck in that I was facing mostly slower decks. I think I mentioned that I had that crazy game versus Control Warlock where I got exact lethal, but also I probably would have won anyway because I had 32 armor, and they were almost out of cards. I was also out of cards, to be fair. The Marithra, playing it with that gives you some other things to do late game, so you're not just trying to hit them in the face, but you're also putting on pressure because you're hitting them in the face. From what I've been gathering so far with the deck, you do really want to be trying to make sure you're attacking every turn if possible. Obviously, if you have to do other things to survive, you have to do other things to survive. But, and you really want like Spiderling on 1, and you want to make sure you get value out of like the 1/4 after you attack, draw a card, stuff like that. But I've, so far, not a huge sample size, been doing well with it. And I do like that Infest the Scullery has some flexibility. You can play it like on 5 or like early on and get some 6 drops from it. If you've really been attacking, you can play it on curve, or you can make it into some 8 drops, because 8 drops are still pretty good, although not nearly as good as when you don't get their battle cries, but they're still pretty good on average. Or you can get some 10 drops. So then you get like a Briarspawn Drake or an Omen or a Tortola.
Yeah. Tortola is a real feels bad. Like, that's the number of non-warriors that are summoning Tortola is, I think, an issue that we may need to discuss at some point, because I am generally a fan of turtles, but that one is starting to wear out his welcome, especially outside of the class that actually gets them. Like, I don't know when the last time is that a warrior's actually played a Tortola, but sure as hell a lot of other classes have done it. So, but yeah, it's that deck does seem good. I did try to play that deck also, and then I had a game where I was able to play Acceleration Aura into Coin, Innervate, Wickerfang on turn 3, and dare the shaman to clear my. Oh, hello, Mr. Turtle. If you're listening on the podcast and wondering what the hell just happened, Megasa has a turtle puppet that she is displaying on the stream right now, who is making eating or talking or grumbling noises. I'm not quite sure which, but anyway. So I slammed a Wickerfang on turn 3 and dared the shaman to clear it, and boy, how did they! And then I was very sad. So that's when I stopped playing that deck and went back to Warlock. But yes, that is so those are all of the changes. Suffice it to say, the meta is very different. It is certainly more diverse than it was. I mean, again, we're 2 days out, right? Things could certainly consolidate pretty quickly, but it seems, and we're still in the phase where people are trying all the things that they weren't allowed to play for the past few weeks. So things could definitely consolidate over the next few days, but then we're going to get the class sets and things are going to change again, which I guess we probably should just talk about, since we've kind of been talking around them anyway. What do you think?
Sounds right.
Sounds good. So, the class sets this time are called Azeroth's Most Wanted, and all of the legendaries for these class sets are the ones who put away the rule breakers for that class. And we have them for Priest, Hunter, Warlock, and Warrior.
Priest, Rogue, Warlock, and Warrior.
We have those for priest, rogue, warlock, and warrior. Why did they make the rogue background green?
Because poison, that's why.
If you go down the line, right, it starts with rogue, and I want to talk about it because it's very exciting for me. I love aggressive rogues, and this character sounds familiar, but I don't know that I've heard them before, or if that's just my brain being weird. Matthias
This is
Shaw.
Master Shaw. Master Shaw.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, at any rate, 4 mana 4/4 stealth. Whenever a friendly stealthed minion attacks, reduce the cost of a random card in your hand by 3. That's a lot of mana discount. Well, you know what's something else you would be running in that deck? SI7 Slayer, a 3 mana 1/2 stealth. Okay, not great. Whenever a friendly stealthed minion attacks, give it +2/+2. So this is really, assuming the opponent doesn't have like AoE or like ways of affecting stealth minions, it's really a 3/4 because it's going to attack and become a 3/4. But also, if you have stealth minions, which it would appear the rest of the rogue class cards have been revealed, boy howdy, do you have a stealth minion to buff with this. 2 mana 1/3 SI7 Supplier. Stealth, after this attacks, draw a card. Not after the first time this attacks, not battle cry, just after this attacks, draw a card. And a reasonable percentage of the time, it is going to attack and become a 3/5. That's insane! Also, we have a 1 mana 3/1 stealth in core right now. So,
And the quest. The rogue quest summons stealth minions too.
yes, I think none of these shuffle something into your deck, right?
I don't think so.
So I don't think we're there yet on having enough shuffles to actually run the quest, but you could just run the spell that shuffles turtles into your deck because those have stealth, and you know,
I mean,
if you draw them, then you'll have them.
you can run Web of Deception, right? Because
True.
that gives you a stealth. That gives you a stealth 4/4. If you're running Herald stuff, Maniacal Follower has stealth as well. So Opu the Unseen and Shaku the Collector are both stealth minions that are currently in Standard.
There's also Ambush Predators, which is a 3 mana shadow spell. Summon a 1/1 spitter with stealth and poisonous. Kindred, do it again.
True.
I forgot that was a card.
Yeah, because
I thought that was in the new. I thought that was in the class set, and then I looked up and didn't see it on the graphic.
Nope. It has a different flavor. Matthias Shaw is the leader of SI7, and he
gotcha.
infiltrated the Defias Brotherhood in order to bring Vanessa Van Cleef to justice.
Got it. Well, we also have Silent Strike. Cold Blood is back, everybody. 2 mana shadow spell. Give a minion +3 attack. If it's stealthed, deal its attack damage to a random enemy minion. I cannot express how insane this card is. Yes, it says random on it, but this is happening like turn 2, turn 3. Like you can maneuver to hit what you want, and it keeps the attack. You kill a thing and then you hit them for a lot.
And it's probably the taunt that was keeping them from taking all that damage in the first place that you just killed.
Yeah. I'm heavily optimistic on the rogue set. Tricks of the Trade is a 1 mana spell, deal 1 damage. If a stealth minion attacked while holding this, deal 3 damage instead. That just says 1 mana, deal 3 damage to a it can go face. Just 1 mana, deal 3 damage. It's just Lightning Bolt without the overload. Follow the Footsteps, 1 mana spell, discover a stealth minion, give it this effect for a turn. So like when you play that thing you discovered, you will discover another stealth minion.
Oh, is that what that means? That is not worded intuitively. Like it took me a minute I read that like 3 times. Like, what is What does this effect mean? Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
It has to be kind of worded that way because it's not just that it will discover another stealth minion, it's also that it will keep the chain going for the rest of the turn.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
So if you
that
keep playing
I did
them,
not know.
Yeah, this is reading the card does not explain the card because that is not at all. I didn't get any of that from those words that were on that card. So
Now,
yeah,
that is something that they talked a little bit about in the dev update video, and also someone clarified in the creator Discord. It will keep chaining. So if you keep playing the stealth minions, right, you can discover a stealth minion, pick a cheap one first, play it, get another one. It's not like the map spells. You don't know what you're going to get after that. But yeah.
That's
they're almost
filthy.
all cheap too.
Well, and imagine that you have Matthias out and like you get to, reduce something by 3. Now, I will say one thing that does make this not as insane as you may be thinking is that I believe after a stealth minion attacks, it's not like it is an unstealthed minion that still has the keyword stealth. It no longer has stealth. So you're not going to be able to attack with SI7 Supplier again and get the SI7 Slayer buff. You'll still draw cards when it attacks, but you can't just like keep an SI7 Slayer in stealth so you can keep attacking with your minions. I mean, you could, but it's only ever that first attack coming out of stealth that things are going to gain that buff or discount a random card in your hand or these things.
Yeah, I mean, at least in standard. In wild, you have conceal.
That's true.
I mean, I think that's important, and these are also often minions that are going to be cleared after they attack, right? So you're setting things up, and then the minion has an explosive thing. I suppose with the buff, they're less likely to be cleared after they attack, now that I say that out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, the 1-2 punch is going to be SI7 Supplier into SI7 Slayer. Like, that is a 3-5 on turn 3. That's nuts. And if you've saved the 3-1 from turn 1 or 2-1 Worgen Infiltrator, those are also pretty big. So yeah, I think this is going to be a thing, especially now that I know that Follow the Footsteps chains. I mean, even just one extra instance I thought was good. The last one is their Trader card, Disguised Operator, can be played on either side. It's a 1-mana 4/2 rush. Death Rattle, your opponent draws 2 cards. So if you really need it, you can. It is very high stats to like clear a thing as a removal spell, but they're going to draw 2 cards. Most of the time, you're just going to play it on the opposing side, and it only has 2 health, so it's going to be easy to clear, and you draw 2 cards.
Just backstab it.
Or something.
Yeah.
It's 1 mana to draw 2 if you have that in a backstab, right? That's fine.
If this deck gets really prevalent, it's really going to require our decks to play some sort of AoE, right? Because that's the only way you can get rid of these is AoE or some sort of other random targeting effect. So otherwise you can just leave the SI7 Slayer there and never attack with it and taunt your opponent.
Yeah.
There was a more expensive, worse card than Conceal that would give another thing stealth, but I don't know if that's in core right now or not.
I don't believe it is. I just did a keyword search for stealth.
Okay.
And I don't see a way to give something stealth. There is like Shade of the End Time, stealth spell damage, Smoke Bomb, discover a combo battlecry or stealth minion with a dark gift. There are quite a few, like if you just, I don't think we're just like hitting every single thing with stealth and putting it all in the deck, but there are quite a few other stealth things to consider. Troubled Double is a 4-mana 3/3 stealth combo, summon a copy of this.
Right. Yeah. Which, honestly, because that is 2 stealths, like might be worth doing. I think you'll have to find a balance of like, is this a deck that runs Foxy for Troubled Double? I don't know. Maniacal Follower, I think, definitely goes in. That's the 3-mana 4/1 stealth Death Rattle Herald Sinestra. Like, you'll just run Followers and the spell, the deal 3 damage Herald spell. Like,
you could also run Shade of the End Time, which is the 3-mana 3/3 stealth spell damage +1. But I mean, I don't know how much spell damage. I mean, there's a little bit of spell damage, but I don't like Tricks of the Trade. But I don't know how much you care about the spell damage in that deck. We'll have to see how that shakes out.
Yeah. I mean, I would run Shaku, right? Like,
Shaku's fine. It's card
absolutely,
advantage.
I would run Shaku.
You could run Finja. You shouldn't, but you could.
Shaku, for anyone who needs a reminder, is a core card, 3 mana, 2/4 stealth. Whenever this attacks, add a card from another class to your hand. Worgen Infiltrator, just a 1 mana, 2/1 stealth.
Yeah. I'm doing
Devious
that.
Coyote has stealth.
Might even be possible to get Devious Coyote playable in a deck like this. It's probably a
Maybe.
stretch, but if you're gonna discover it from Follow the Footsteps, you might take it sometimes if you already have a way that turn to hit
Sure.
your opponent a couple of times.
Yeah, that I could see. I mean, yeah, my guess would be like we run Worgen, we run the 3s, right? Follower, Shaku. Honestly,
Spy
Shade of the
Mistress.
End Time, you'll have to sort of see where you're at in terms of slots for, spells to take advantage of the spell damage. But you might just run it for another stealth. And then Opu, we've run before because it's just a solid card.
Yeah.
And I would consider running Sinestra since you're running 4 Heralds anyway.
Why not?
So
I mean, that's just kind of how things end up with Rogue, is that they eventually figuring out a way to just generate random BS even if they don't mean to. So,
yeah, you gotta throw some imbue in there too, right? Yeah.
I mean, as a treat.
Yeah.
Well, and it gives them some late game, right? If Plan A
Yeah.
doesn't pan out, they have some more value. They have some more other things to do. So
Yeah, and I mean, and then if you're doing that, then you run Deathwing, and that gives you some more damage at the end of the game. Maybe that's just the way that you do it. Who knows?
I do think it is hilarious that this is also 2 more SI7 cards. I don't think that will be like good enough for that quest in Wild, but
Oh, the Scabs one.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Wild meta has far passed this by. I don't think you're doing,
but
you're not doing Scabs quest in.
but these are good ones.
They are.
if you're at lower MMRs, you can do anything. So
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
worth.
Yeah, you can do
Try.
anything on your Smurf account. That's fair. But
If we are running Shade of the End Times, then maybe Chrono Daggers it's
Yeah.
time to shine.
maybe.
Anyway,
And you might need that if the mirror is common with Phantom Knives. Anyway, you might need spell damage just to clear their stealth.
all right. I've gotten Rogue out of my system. You can talk about the
Okay.
other things
All
now.
Can we talk about Priest now?
Yeah.
Warlock first
Okay.
is on the
fine.
list. Yeah.
Fine. We'll talk about Warlock. Warlock's got quite a bit going on.
Yeah, so this one is Kazakus. The Gadget Zan gang leader double-crossed Aya Blackpaw during a heist, set her up to take the fall, and rigged the trial against her. So we have a theme of these imp formants who go into the enemy deck. They are an uncollectible token.
Yeah, it's a 3 mana 3/3 lifesteal that's summoned when drawn for your opponent. So you put the minions into the opponent's deck. They're summoned when drawn, but they're summoned for you, which is very weird.
So you are punishing them for drawing too much, but there's also ways that you can pull them out of your opponent's deck. So Corrupt Constable is a 4 mana 3/5 with Battlecry. If the enemy deck has any imp formants, move 1 to the top and give it +2/+2. So the imp formant will then be, when they next draw, a 5/5 lifesteal for you after your opponent draws.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Like that's, turn 4, assuming you've played one of the other cards first, which they're mostly relatively cheap. 10 health, 8 attack and stats. Like, that's a lot.
That's pretty good. Some of the ways that you can shuffle them in: Harsh Sentence, 2 mana, enemy minions cost 2 more next turn, put 2 3/3 informants into the enemy deck.
I'd play that even without the informants in some metas. Like,
Oh yeah.
just, having a cold feet, but for minions, like against either shaman deck is fine, right? Like, you just play that anyway. And oh, by the way, I'll eventually get a 3/3. Like, if you don't get it right away, it's probably you don't even that upset about it, right? Like, just because you've managed to slow them down, that's a significant slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like an empty card that just does that and nothing else. You're actually getting a minion out of it just eventually.
And you could find it via Corrupt Constable. You could find it via Frame Job, which is a 5-mana spell that says destroy 2 random enemy minions, discover a minion in the enemy deck to put on top. So that has a chance to get you an Imp Formant. Also, it just destroys a couple things, or you can try to give them the worst draw. Cabal Conspirator puts Imp Formants in, 2 mana, 2/3, Death Rattle, put 2 3/3 Imp Formants into the enemy deck that summon for you when drawn. Cabal Mastermind benefits if you summon them, 5 mana, 5/5, taunt Battlecry whenever you summon an Imp Formant this game, give it +2/+2. So that is it's this game. So you don't have to have the Cabal Mastermind out.
Oh.
Yeah. And you can run 2 of them, so you can do that twice.
That is better than I first read. Just something about the way it's boxed, it like did not register for me that was not just an effect while it was in play. It does come out later, but that's pretty significant if they're all becoming 5/5s or 7/7s.
I think that makes the most difference if you are playing a longer game, you're waiting till they've drawn a lot of their deck and then you're shuffling a lot of them in.
Right.
That's probably when you'd want Cabal Mastermind. You'd also, at that point, want to play Follow the Evidence. This one also chains. So all the follow cards, each class set has one, chain. So it's a 1-mana spell that says put a 3/3 Imp Formant into the enemy deck, give a playable card in your hand this effect for a turn.
Yeah, I just assumed all of these only carried over one time. So the news that they can chain as long as you can play things is pretty big news to me.
But this is a lot worse, right? Because just because you can play something that's in your hand doesn't mean you want to.
Sure.
So that, like if you have a board clear and you've got a full board and then you play this, you're not going to blow up your board just to get a 3/3 in their deck.
I don't think this deck plays board clears, but sure.
I'm making an argument, right? Like, I don't know what this deck is going to end up looking like, but it's certainly or you could have like a removal spell, like just because I don't know, does playable mean that it has targets?
It means you have the mana to play it. It might also mean that it has targets.
I don't know, because like I don't know that we've ever seen, because like the only time we've seen playable really has been like from the Priest Imbue.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually am not sure if there's a spell that doesn't have targets, is that still considered playable because of the mana cost, or is it considering the fact that it is not going to turn green in your hand?
My guess is that because it's stuff that's in your hand, it's basically like, is it green right now?
Yeah, probably.
That sounds right.
But I'm not positive on that because the Priest Imbue can give you, for example, like an Undeath Sentence when you haven't had anything with Death Rattle die.
And you just don't take it. Yeah.
Right, you just don't take it. In this case, though, because it's stuff that's already in your hand, I would guess that it's only going to give it to something that's green after you play this.
I would imagine if it doesn't work that way when these launch, they'll probably hotfix it a week later to make it work that way, because that's generally how they've approached these sorts of things. If they didn't think about that ahead of time, then they'll probably bug fix it to change it.
Probably, yeah. So I'm not quite sure exactly what the shell for this looks like, because on the one hand, something like Corrupt Constable seems like a proactive card, right? We get this really big thing, and we're summoning minions, but they are kind of like bombs in that they're the opponent's deck, and that gets better and more consistent the fewer cards they have. So the later it is. So I'm not quite sure what's our shell for this, but some of the cards do seem quite powerful.
I think it's like a Maiev style deck, right? Like very, very low to the ground, but then you've got this sort of insurance of summoning big imps out of the enemy deck as the game goes on.
It's probably not Herald, because
No.
because like you very often will just play the Herald all the way on the right, so that you're not eating any of your own stuff that you don't want to, and then all of a sudden one of these giant lifesteals gets summoned and gets eaten immediately, and that would be bad. I guess you do get to attack with it at least once anyway, because it's not going to have it shouldn't have summoning sickness, right? Because
it's their turn.
It'll have gotten summoned on their turn, so you'll get to attack with it right away. So you'll always get assuming that it lives. I mean, they'll have a turn to be able to deal with it, but if they're trading into it, you're gaining a life anyway. So as long as they're not using a removal spell on it, you'll get some value out of it, and you'll be able to attack with it immediately, which is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Flame Imps, Vulgar Homunculus, like the works in terms of efficient early game minions. Again, because they have lifesteal, you're willing to play stuff that hurts you. That's kind of the world in which I see this stuff working.
Yeah, it's probably not Godfrey.
Maybe we get more stuff going forward with like self-damage or stuff like that with demons. There is the Shred of Time stuff.
That's true.
Mm.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Warlock.
Yeah, I think that goes great.
There you go.
I put stuff that's bad for me in my deck and stuff that's good for me in your deck. It's just
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll definitely try that out. There is also a seriously crazy legendary for this class set for Warlock. So, Kazakus, you are plotting a custom sham trial. So, he set up Aya to take the fall. Like the other things where you build a custom location, or you build a custom potion, or you build a custom whatever, you're picking 3 things. But instead of picking the mana cost first and then choosing 2 effects based on the mana cost, you choose 2 effects first, and then you choose the mana cost, but the mana cost is balanced by how long the trial's going to take. So if we start with, you pick whether they have been detained for destruction, convicted for conspiracy, or sentenced for smuggling. So what was their crime, supposedly? That could either be force each minion to attack another minion, so mass hysteria, for those of you who remember that card. If you don't remember that card, by the way, it's a good card.
Mhm.
It is quite a good card.
Yeah.
It's actually a surprisingly effective board clear. So you can do that kind of board clear. You could take control of a random enemy minion, or steal 2 cards from your opponent's hand. This kind of thing is making me think that they were kind of thinking of the Informants as possibly a slower strategy, but also these can be played separately. The Informants and Kazakus don't really have to be played together. So there's 3 very powerful defensive effects here. Then you choose Murder Weapon, I guess, or like 1 item.
Mm-hmm.
So Creative Contraband is draw 3 cards, or Spurious Shiv, give minions in your hand and battlefield +3/+3. That's kind of nuts. Criminal Contract, summon 3 random 3-cost minions. Potion of Perjury reduces the cost of minions in your hand by 2. Swill of Suggestibility restores 12 health to your hero. And Tonic of Tyranny summons a Void Lord. So these are much more proactive effects on average, although except for like restore 12 health to your hero or summon a Void Lord. But actually, let me make sure that I'm saying this correctly by watching the GIF here.
You need like a law degree to figure this out. Interestingly enough.
You do. Okay. So they play Kazakus. Kazakus is a 3-mana 3/3, by the way. I'm not sure if I said that. Oh, they're all mixed in. Okay. So you don't guarantee get those defensive effects that I mentioned at the beginning. There's 9 things here. You pick 2 in 2 discovers.
So you could get summon 3 random 3-cost minions and give minions in your hand and battlefield +3/+3, which would be silly.
So you could get a really aggressive thing, or you could get restore 12 health to your hero and take control of their Tortola.
I mean, take control can be aggressive.
That can be very aggressive. That can be.
It also depends on when it's happening.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, that kind of goes into the last part of it, where if it's going to happen immediately, you have to pay 7 mana for that to happen. Whereas if you're getting it at the start of your next turn, that costs you 4 mana. And if you're getting it in 4 turns, then you get it for free. So part of this is also understanding like what you're getting, and then is this going to be good no matter what? Do I need to have a board set up into this? I guess the question that I have is, does your opponent get to see what the effects are going to be if you take either of them? Because if your opponent also knows what's going to happen, they can try to set up their board to be not good for it when it's about to go off, right?
I don't think so. I think that they just see that you've had a card added to your hand, because what it does is it adds the trial to your hand as a spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm saying when you cast the spell.
Oh, when you cast it, if it doesn't happen immediately. Yeah, in the gift, they
Yeah.
just have the one that happens immediately. That's a good point.
Yeah, not sure. I could see it going either way. I think this is powerful no matter what. And regardless of whether the imp stuff happens, this feels like the kind of legendary that you can run in an aggressive deck, you can run in a control deck. Like, this is just going to be in the Warlocks because it's a toolbox. And there are going to be times where you just like run it out on 3. And since you pick the timing last, right, you can go, okay, I got an aggressive option that's going to be great whenever. I'm just going to do it for 0. Like, if you get draw 3, reduce the cost of minions in your hand by 2, like, that'll be fine whenever.
Assuming the game lasts that long, I guess is the unspoken thing, right? Like,
the
game has to go 4 more turns, which if this deck is aggressive enough, you may not want it to, right?
I think this is likely. So either this is played in a slower Warlock, and I like that this is flexible, right? And we do have some slower Warlocks that are viable right now. You can play it there, and then especially if you play this close to on curve, it's not that late that it'll go into effect if you wait 4 turns. And if you draw it late, then you just pick the expensive one that plays it sooner, right? Mm-hmm. You can choose how you want this to go. If you're playing a proactive deck and you're waiting 4 turns and then you win before then, great, right?
Yeah.
We won before then. Or if it goes late, then you have a powerful effect, maybe drawing 3 cards. It's like, this is my insurance for it went late. I really like that you pick the sham trial duration and mana cost at the end.
Yeah.
Because
that's
a lot
very
of
good.
these effects, it really matters what you get. And because there's 9 of them, it's a fairly consistent pool, but not like the most consistent pool. So you're not necessarily going to be able to see exactly what you want out of that. And so it's really helpful to pick things and then be like, okay, based on what time in the game it is and based on the effects I just got, how expensive do I want this spell to be? How long do I want it to last?
Yeah.
The other thing about this too is that like Kazak's potions and like Elise locations kind of got optimized for like conventional wisdom as to like, this is the one you pick, right? If you don't know, this is the one you pick because the effect scaled with the amount that you were paying for them, right? And then there was people who did the math on like whether 1 or 5 cost was worth more or whatever. Like, this is going to be much more situational. And the fact that the power level is always the same, but you're choosing when you want to get it, I think makes it a little bit more strategic as far as like what you're going to pick. And it doesn't make it an auto, like with Elise, more often than not, you just slam 5 and you don't even think about it, right? Unless it's like unless you need something that turn or it's really late and you need a 10 cost thing or whatever. But most of the time it's like, I'm going to choose 5 unless I have a good reason not to.
Well,
this, it really is going to matter. Like, what are you playing this on curve? Are you playing this late? Are you, is this something where you can set it up? Are you going to go 3 into 4 and play this like a doomsayer? Right? Like, there's a whole bunch of different things that may make this play out a little bit differently and make it so that you're not always picking the same cost most of the time.
Yeah. I do think that 3 into 4 is going to be half the time. I feel like it'll be, 50% you do 3 into 4, and then the rest of the time, like, it just depends. But whether you are being proactive or reactive, there's great options there, right? Like, if you're getting summon 3 minions and like anything else proactive, like summon 3 minions, steal 2 cards from the opponent's hand, like you'll do that next turn. If you're getting restore 12 health and force each minion to attack another minion, there's a lot of matchups as a slower deck where you will like play Kazakas on 3, pick that option to play on 4, and just be like, develop more, I dare you. While also,
or you pick that as a 7 saying, this is my oh crap button, right?
yeah,
And there's an argument for that too, because I'm sure that this will get slotted into slower Warlock decks where you have other things to deal with the early turns, but I need a board clear, right? And having an extra board clear that I can just rip for 7, you pay 8 for Annihilation anyway, right?
Yeah.
Or 7 if you're getting it off of the Godfrey. So like 7 mana for a board clear, especially one that's going to heal you or summon something, or rip cards out of your opponent's hand, like you'll pay 7 mana for that, no problem. But you want something like that, you would want to have control over when it goes off to be able to get the most out of it.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of flexibility, and I would guess, based on the way that Mixologist worked, where the potions would always be put together in the order that was advantageous for you, regardless of what order you discovered the effects in, I would guess that this will work the same way. So, for example, that it would do the Hysteria before summoning you minions, or that it would summon you minions before buffing them.
Right, yeah.
Right. So I don't know exactly how fine-grained that'll be, but in general with Mixologists, they were pretty good about like doing a clear before it summoned you things, for example. So that's nice in that it means you don't have to worry about it so much, assuming that it does in fact work like Mixologist.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Warlock.
That's Warlock. All right. Priest. We finally have Priest.
It's the first one in Ben Hearthstone's grid of images, by the way. So I feel like we should have talked about it first, but we're building up suspense. Yeah. So Priest cares about reborning things. It really cares about reborning things. It cares about reborning things like undead doing battlegrounds. That's how much it cares about reborning things.
This is a haunted mansion. Ghost hunter Wraith von Geist tracked down Azalina Soul Thief through a haunted mansion in the Witchwood.
Yes, and just like the haunted mansion in Disney World, there are going to be 99 ghosts by the end of this ride that you're on with this deck. So we can just start with haunt. Give a minion +2/+3 reborn and taunt. Yeah. That seems fine. You have Spectre Specialist, Battle Cry, give a friendly minion reborn. If it already has reborn, summon a copy of it. Which, yeah, that seems like something I'm interested in doing. You do have some minions that are reborn themselves. You have Sinful Steed, which is a 3 mana 2/3 undead beast with reborn. It is reborn with full health and enchantments, which can be a very scary sentence, given that this is the class that has +5/+5 and lifesteal for potentially 0 mana. That is a lot.
Like, if you prepare that, you throw it on Sinful Steed, and they clear half of it, and then you play Haunt, you have won the game. It's over. Like,
or you schism it.
Sure, but like, I'm saying you play Haunt because it's like they got rid of the first half with the reborn, and then you gave it reborn again, and it still has this is reborn with full health and enchantments. So it would come back as a let's see, a 9/11 lifesteal taunt. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so this is like, it's taking the Soothsayer Priest, potentially, right? Because Soothsayer does seem like it still goes in this deck.
Oh, yeah.
And turning it into, like, waves of minions, potentially. Like, we could potentially do this with just, like, we're going even more all in on Soothsayer, but what I'm kind of interested in is we've got a little more minion variety, and there's just, like, a lot of ways. Instead of having to draw our Soothsayers, we have other ways to just make, like, really sticky, really annoying, really large minions that maybe don't snowball nearly as fast instantly, but when they get going is really scary.
Like, I know this is Magical Christmas Land, so don't read too much into it. But I just want to point out that Obsidian Statue is in core. which is a 9-mana 4/8 taunt lifesteal, death rattle, destroy a random enemy minion. That would be pretty fun with Reborn. I'd like it. I don't think it'll happen. I think that's Magical Christmas Land, but it is a thing that you could put Reborn on and it would be very good with it. So
If Aviana Priest, let's go.
Yeah.
It all costs 1. Is there anything here that would work with Tyrande? I guess not. Well, yeah, because the haunt multiple times is not as helpful. If there ends up being a lot of late game stuff and we end up with like a really control meta, you could have like Tyrande withhold them off and then like Reborn on a Sinful Steed. And then it's just like even more enormous. I don't know that we even need that though, because it's already enormous.
You could build something really silly with Kara of the Broken, which is the 6-mana 6/6 taunt with death rattle. Get 3 1/1 copies of random legendary minions that cost 1, and just keep giving that Reborn, and then just like spamming all these mini-me legendaries onto the board, and then getting more. I mean, again, it's dumb. It's probably not the thing you do, but it's something you could do, or maybe it's something that you put into that deck. Light Shower Elemental is also an option. Like, that's just a lot of healing that you could keep getting over and over again. It's probably not as good as Soothsayer, because Soothsayer is also a lot of healing, but again,
if you have a wider board, then maybe we consider it. Although probably still not as good as Soothsayer. I did get a Kara of the Broken randomly from a Soothsayer, and I got Aviana for 1 mana and Azalina Soul Thief for 1 mana and like a Fyrak.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best Karov that has ever happened.
So I think that if there's something here, it is a Soothsayer Priest that no longer is tunnel visioned on Soothsayer.
Yeah, we might not run Umbra at that point.
Oh no, I think you still run Umbra.
You probably do, yeah, but yeah.
But maybe not. Like, maybe it gets replaced by Wraith Vangeist.
Which we should probably say what he does. I don't know if we said what he does.
Yeah, so like the ultimate payoff for this is Wraith Vangeist, who 7-minute 5/5, Battle Cry, resurrect your minions that were reborn this game. They attack random enemy minions. So we just get a Soul Mirror, except it's your minions that you put into the deck. And Soul Mirror was a pretty broken removal card for Priest for a long time. And knowing what minions are going to come out is really powerful. I think that, which also kind of makes some of these choices weird. Like, I guess we should talk we should finish up talking about the rest of these cards too, because we also have Slimem, which is a 4-mana shadow spell. Destroy all minions. Each player gets a 3-cost spell that resummons theirs. The idea being that if your minions are all reborn, you're going to have a board, and then you can resummon all your minions again later. Whereas your opponent's going to get to resummon them after a turn. But it's almost like getting Twilight Mistress to some extent, not quite the same, because they're still going to have summoning sickness, but yours are going to stick around, and then you're still going to get to resummon them again, which will also put more copies into Wraith Vangeist to be able to resurrect later, which can be pretty powerful. It's kind of like, what's the Death Knight card that gives everything reborn and then destroys all minions?
Eternal Layover?
Yeah. Except that it's not leaving the minions around. It's actually removing your opponent's minions from the board for a time. I mean, if you don't have charge, it doesn't really matter.
It's kind of a Blizzard, because if they play it again, they still have summoning sickness for a turn.
Yeah.
So they miss an attack.
Yeah. It's better than Eternal Layover, because Eternal Layover, you really needed to be able to do something about the version that was left behind with 1 mana. But it does make Follow the Ghosts a little bit weird. Follow the Ghosts is the follow spell for Priest, which is 2 mana, summon a 2/1 Ghost with Reborn, give a playable card in your hand this effect for a turn. So you can, they do look like they belong in the Disney Haunted Mansion. I will give them that. They absolutely do look like they belong there. But it does make it a little weird, because like, if you're all in on juicing Wraith Vangeist, you really don't want 2/1s coming out of it. You really want those to be better than that if you're looking to use that as a board clear, I would think.
Yeah, to me, like, Follow the Ghosts and Lingering Spirit go in one kind of deck. and then the other ones go in another kind of deck. Like, because
did we read Lingering Spirit? I don't think we did. I think we might have missed that. So Lingering Spirit is a 4-mana 3/3 with Reborn. With Death Rattle, restore 3 health to your hero. Excess healing damages a random enemy, which is interesting. But I don't think it's quite on the caliber of being able to give things Reborn is going to be more powerful than some of these minions that have Reborn printed on the card. Maybe with the exception of Sinful Steed. But even then, if you're running that in a Wraith deck, that's still going to be, when it gets resurrected, I think it's still going to be a 2/3. It's not going to be whatever it was before.
Yeah, here's my prediction. I think Sinful Steed is worth the squeeze because it keeps you alive, right?
Yeah.
It gives you that target. Maybe you're even still running the dragon that like draws a minion, gives it +2/+2, and so sometimes this has even more stats. But I think just the utility of getting something that reborns at full health with +5/+5 lifesteal is so much that's going to save you a lot of the time. It dilutes Wraith a bit, but that's kind of fine. I think this is just like now you have a diversity of game plans and threats. You've got that Sinful Steed route with buffs. You've got Soothsayer to protect you. And then now you have so many ways of capitalizing on the quest reward. If you play the quest reward and then slime them, that is so filthy.
Because those go face. And note that all of these spells are shadow.
Yes.
All of these new spells.
Yeah. And I will say, Adel, we're probably not running the dragon. We're probably running Disciple of the Dove, which is the battle cry, draw a minion, give minions in your hand +2 health.
Either way.
That's more well, because that's gonna be on both the Sinful Steed that you play and the Reborn version is gonna have that extra health.
Well, I mean, +2/+2.
Oh, I guess +2/+2. So we probably run both. Yeah.
It's just a matter of like the priest one where it buffs the health hits all the minions in your hand. The dragon hits just the thing it draws. You're still not necessarily running that many minions, so I don't know.
Yeah, but also, well, you don't Reborn those, so it doesn't matter, right? And also, priest needs all the help it can get when it comes to draw. So
yeah, but I think that just not being so tunnel visioned on Soothsayer, but still having it as a defensive tool. Because a lot of times you're forced to, like, you don't get to do the fancy make copies. You just have to prepare it and then throw it out there to save yourself.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, the second Soothsayer is for fancy stuff. The first Soothsayer you just get out as soon as possible. So having other options, I think, helps a lot. I think it'll help the deck feel better, too. Because current Soothsayer Priest has a little bit of like the Naga Priest problem, wherein if you don't draw, you have tutors for it, but if you don't draw your build around card, you're just so sad. So it helps a lot to have other things that still synergize well with if you do get the Soothsayer.
And I mean, if you're still imbuing, and I don't know if we are or not, but if you're still imbuing or doing something that's giving you random minions, right, then you can just turn something into a Reborn minion and put it into Wraith. That's big, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a fancy death rattle. It could just be a big body that you want to be able to hit something when you play Wraith later. And that's an option that you'll have available to you too.
I mean, I think that option is like either you've prepared Soothsayer enough that you can haunt it, or you just haunt whatever comes out of it if that is good enough.
Yeah.
This also adds an extra dimension, because previously I think you pretty much always just wanted to get Soothsayer out on the earliest turn. Not always, but often. But now you have an extra reason to, if you can, prepare the Soothsayer a little more so that you can haunt it on the turn that you play it. It'll depend, again, on the state of the deck and what your opponent is and stuff like that. Sometimes you still just need to play it out, but if you have some other options, there's more reason to prepare it a little bit more, or more that you can do if the game is later. I think like a Soothsayer Priest that leans a little less hard into it, but maybe still has some of the quest stuff going on, or maybe those are two different decks. We're going to have trouble fitting all of this into one list, I think.
Yeah.
But we can certainly cut like the 2-mana shadow spell that's only there because we need shadow spells, Twilight something. So, you know, it'll probably take a second to see what the refined lists of this are. Twilight Influence, there we go.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that's a cut. Yeah.
You know what else would be real good to give Reborn is the Black Blood.
Oh God. Yeah, Reborn and Taunt.
Yeah.
Then it protects the appendages also.
Yeah. And then you get another one with all the appendages when Wraith brings it back.
So what's gonna kill this before that happens is Pirate Warrior.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Pirate Warrior. This has a theme of Cannoneer. Now, I do want to say something. The screenshot that we have up on the stream is from the dev update video. And in the dev update video, they had a small error, which is that Cannoneer itself has a rarity gem on that. It should not. It is not actually a collectible card. It is a token. But we will still start with it. Cannoneer is a 1-mana 1/1 pirate token. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So each of them is like the little cannon from, God, what set was that? Like the 1/4 cannon that shoots cannons.
Witchwood. Yeah. This is Crowley from Witchwood. This is him again. Yeah.
Yes, so Darius Crowley had long sought to bring the notorious Lord Godfrey to justice and hired a crew of pirates to lay siege to Shadowfang Keep and take his old foe into custody. So pretty much this entire warrior set revolves around summoning Cannoneers, making things better because you have Cannoneers. Captain Crowley himself is a 5-mana 4/5 pirate that says your Cannoneers fire an additional shot, and as his battle cry, he summons 2 1/1 Cannoneers. By the way, 2 Captain Crowleys will stack.
Yep.
I wonder how we get 2 Captain Crowleys. Little card called Hogger, which I totally forgot existed until Edel reminded me.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
That's 10 mana, so like not likely to happen. But yeah, relevant because then you can do it across multiple turns.
Yeah. It does not say twice. Yeah. It does say an additional shot. So
I guess first some things that will give us Cannoneers, and then things that will make them better. So Hook and Heave is a 2-mana spell. Discover a pirate, summon 2 1/1 Cannoneers. Cannon Master, 1-mana 3/1 Draenei pirate. Battle Cry, get a 1/1 Cannoneer that deals 1 damage to a random enemy at end of turn. So that's a 1-drop that gives you 1 into your hand. We have Land Ho, 4 mana, draw 2 cards, summon 2 1/1 Cannoneers. I think that's all the ways to get them. But then we have some payoffs. So, for example, a hand cannon is a 3-mana 3/2 weapon. After your hero attacks, your Cannoneers fire. So that gets you an extra thing there.
Curves off of Hook and Heave or into Land Ho.
So you can summon a couple Cannoneers, and then the next turn play the hand cannon. They all fire, and then, or if they get cleared, you already have the hand cannon, then you Land Ho, draw the cards, get the 2 Cannoneers. We also have just like a crazy card that is good for Cannoneers, but just any pirates in general, which is Blast Powder Engineer, a 2-mana 2/3 pirate. On your turn, friendly pirates deal 1 more damage.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember a little card called Void Attendant.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember.
I'm trying to forget.
And Priest.
This deck.
That card.
This deck is going to murder people so fast if they're not doing anything. Like, and often if they are, because they're going to shoot the crap out of the enemy minions with the Cannoneers and like keep the board. Void Attendant had a drawback, right? Which was that their stuff did that to you too. Okay, twice the mana, right? 2-mana 2/3, not a 1-mana 1/3. But it's just you. It's just your pirates deal more damage, and that means both that the Cannoneers, if they get to attack phase, will deal 1 damage more, but also that the cannons firing will deal 1 damage more, which means there's gonna be a lot of times where you're just like, roll this out. Any Cannoneers that can attack, just push face because you'll rely on the cannons to clear anything in play. And there's going to be a lot of times where you just play Crowley and Engineer in the same turn, you know, if things have gone somewhat later. And that's just a lot of damage.
We still have Fogsail Freebooter in core, which is a 2-mana 2/2 battle cry. If you have a weapon attack equipped, deal 2 damage. So now it deals 3, which is better.
There's also the 1-mana 1/2 that if you have a weapon equipped is a 3/2.
Small time Buccaneer. Yeah.
Skyrider, 1 mana, 1/2 pirate, battlecry, add a random pirate to your hand.
You've got Dread Corsair, which is not
South
amazing,
Sea
but...
Captain. We're summoning a bunch of pirate tokens. You've got South Sea Captain. Make them 2/2s. And also, like, there's still not a ton of pirates in the pool. And if you hit any of the class pirates, you are quite happy. Off of Hook and Heave, which discovers a pirate, off of the 1/2 you just mentioned that gives you a random pirate, or off of a fire spell everyone's familiar with that discovers a warrior minion, of which now 4 are pirates. So I guess there's also the one that is a mech pirate, where if you attack, you draw a card and gain 4 armor.
Hook Fist 3000. Yeah, there are, for Skyraider purposes, there are 15 pirates in Standard, including rogue pirates as well. So, like, you could get a Time Admiral Hooktail.
Oh, right. That can go off.
Like, yeah, you could get a Swashbuckler, you could get a Sackett Sapper, but so, like, there's 2 pirates out of 15 that give you more Cannoneers. Those are pretty decent odds to just get a random one.
And the Discovers, it's better, right? Like I guess the Discover Warrior minion is not filtering for pirates, but
yeah, but Hook and Heavy is, and that's only going to give you Warrior and Neutral, which is going to be 12. Yeah. So you'll have 3 out of 12. So, I mean, hypergeometric odds aside, roughly a 25% chance to get more Cannoneers. It's not going to be exactly 25% because math, but for back of the envelope math, it's good enough.
Yeah. And also, any additional Crowleys after the first 2 is filthy.
Yep.
No matter how infrequent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just, to top it all off, you're going to be running the other fire things because the fire things are good, right? You run Torch, you run Shadow Flame Suffusion, which we just talked about with Dark Gift. You, God forbid, you get a double Battlecry Crowley. Anyway, you run...
you run the location, probably.
Right, the location, and then the give yourself +3 attack and deal 1 damage to everything. Oh, but that kills your Cannoneers. Who cares? You get to pick when to do it. It's
if you have a South Sea Captain out.
Yeah, oh my God. And that's going to freak people out, right? With the... Or no, that's only inequality situations, right? Where you try and reduce them to...
Oh, no, let's not go that. Let's not go back there again. I don't want to do that math again.
But yeah, this deck is just going to have an insane amount of damage and potentially quite quickly. I think you'll have to figure out, like, what are other weapons you're interested in besides hand cannon, but it's looking quite good. There's 1 card left here we didn't mention, Follow the Fuse. 1 cost spell, deal 2 damage to a random enemy, give a playable pirate in your hand this effect for a turn. So encourages you to have cheap pirates. I think you probably still run this, but it's a little bit harder because, like, if you are aggressive and, like, you've emptied out your hand, I don't know. Probably still worth running. But
the weapon choices are not great, by the way.
It's probably Ball and Chain, just because it's a 1 mana weapon.
I think so.
1 mana, 1/2.
Yeah, because, like, your other choices are Bladed Gauntlet, which can't attack heroes. That gives you attack based on your armor. Axe of the Four Farthers, which does the 3 mana 2/2 that after your hero attacks you, Whirlwind. Bulwark of Azeroth, and then Cataclysmic War Axe, which is the Ragnaros Herald, which we're not doing in this deck. So,
I mean, I think you would run it just because it's, like, fine if it weren't for the fact that 3 also already feels a little heavy. But yeah, I think it's probably Ball and Chain. It just occurs to me, Follow the Fuse is fine if you just, like, play it and then 1 pirate. Like, that's still 1 mana for 2 damage shots.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's probably fine. And as you say, with an aggro deck, aggro versus aggro has this problem where that's when suddenly you want to trade because you need to keep board, or at least you trade more often. what you really want is to be ahead on board so they have to trade into you. But that's where you can end up with a problem where, as an aggro deck, you want to keep board control. But if you have cannoneers that are shooting random stuff at their minions, then you just get to go face. You just get to continue to be like, well, this isn't a decision. I'm just hitting your face. Not that there won't be decisions in this deck, but it allows you to better do what you want to do anyway.
Yeah. Is Land Ho playable outside of a Cannoneer deck?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not when we have like For Glory instead.
Well, eventually that'll rotate, but yeah. I'm just asking the question because I think it's worth thinking about, because like it is still draw 2, which is not nothing, but
yeah, it is no Sanguine Infestation, right? Like you don't know where the shots are going to go. If you could guarantee it the way that like the leeches do with hitting the lowest health, then I think you would seriously consider it, because at that point it's just like a variation on original Sanguine. But as it stands, I'm uncertain and sort of feel like there's better options. But yeah, I mean, just as a package, I stare at this and I think about the fire spells, and I just feel like it's an insane amount of damage. You probably also just run Xavius, because there's some insane dark gifts, like Blast Powder Engineer getting a 2/2 copy.
Oh god.
Or Crowley getting a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crowley 2/2 copy or double battle cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because we're doing a lot of like summoning things, we don't actually have tons of minions in the deck necessarily.
Well, in South Sea Captain 2/2 copy. That's juicy as well. They buff each other.
Yeah. So don't worry, aggro enjoyers. At least this seems like it has a good chance of being an option for you.
Watch me be just like devastatingly wrong on both warrior and rogue. I don't think I am, but it would be funny.
I better get to Reborn some Soothsayers. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's all I care about. Get this aggro stuff out of my face. Like, just let me Reborn some Soothsayers and be happy.
I am definitely interested in all of them, maybe a little less in Warlock, but I do think that Kazakus is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be giving all of these a try. It does seem like they really want these to hit. At least some of them. And except for Warrior, I don't know that there's much here that we would play outside. Like, it is a deck. It all is extremely synergistic with itself. But some of the others have some cards, like the Priest one and the Warlock one, I think. Or at least the Warlock Legendary. Like, there are cards that could see play in multiple types of decks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, they are all parasitic design, but Kazakus can go in anything.
Haunt can go in anything.
Haunt can go in anything. Like with the Reborn stuff, it's sort of general. The Rogue stuff, it's like a little more just with itself, but I think there's still things there that could kind of go in whatever. And then, yeah, Warrior is kind of at the end where it's like, it is very strong, but is also just sort of its own deck.
Yeah. Been a while since we had a proper pirate warrior, I feel like.
And what's so funny is I'm extremely excited for this one. I hated the first one.
Oh, you didn't like Crispy Skipper?
No, I liked Risky Skipper. That was not the first one. The first one was like...
Oh, like Gadgetsan?
Yeah.
Pirate Warrior? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know. It was just like Chosen of N'Zoth into Bloodsail Raider into like...
Oh, that was the Buccaneer days too. I mean, that was Flame Imp one.
Yeah, Small Time Buccaneer.
Both in Warrior and in Rogue.
Oh, in Patches. Yeah, it was the Patches days.
Yeah.
I was in that time where I like was not doing like higher level competitive, but I was competing at local events, and it just felt like the boogeyman, right? It's like I've got to beat this with all my sweet decks.
Yeah, well, certainly I'm thinking of like Stormwind Quest Pirate Warrior.
That was different. That I liked. That I
Yeah.
played.
Oh, and that one was like, because it really kind of was fairly clear how you were supposed to play it, it was really, really good for
Mhm.
players who needed
Yeah.
some guidance. And then for higher level players, they were like, yeah, I know exactly what you're going to do on your next turn. I think this is a little different than that because it's not just like a curvestone deck necessarily, but it does seem like it's a fast deck. Like it's like you're going to summon some cannoneers, you're going to hit their board, you're going to go face.
Yeah. And it punishes not having minions also.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
with minions in play, it's random. They could not clear them, right? It could not go how the pirate player wants. If you don't have minions in play, great. I wanted to hit your face anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do like that to the extent of it's always a problem when we have decks that incentivize not playing minions. So,
Yeah. There's one other card that I guess we should mention. Did we mention the neutral card?
we have not yet.
No, we didn't. No.
So the blog post also can say if you can buy the class sets separately, or you can buy them as a bundle and you can use gold or real money. If you buy them separately, it's $10 USD or 1,200 gold each. Or you can get a regular bundle for $20 USD or 2,500 gold. So that is much better rate. And then if you want golden, it is $80 USD or 12,000 gold.
I do highly recommend just getting all of them this time around. Like,
Yes.
there are maybe some individual cards that seem questionable, but I feel like all of these, some of them I feel strongly will make it. Warlock is the one I'm uncertain about, but I think that even if the other things aren't, Kazakus will be. And it just, mini sets, or in this case, class sets, have always been kind of the best value in Hearthstone, where you spend your gold, you get all the cards, and you know what those cards are going to be. Last time, when the class sets were kind of bad, a little bit rougher. This time, they look much, much better.
Yeah. And they've also shown that if they're not good enough, they will buff the bejesus out of them to get them to be. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you will get, in addition, Wanted Poster, which is a 2-mana spell. Discover a minion that costs 5 or more. Give it Prepare. This is quite random, so I don't know what we're playing this in, but it could be powerful depending on what you get.
I'll tell you what you're playing in. You're playing in Quest Mage.
Oh.
Yeah.
You are. Oh no! Why?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's real good in Quest Mage.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Because that's guaranteed. This is a big board.
Yep.
Oh boy.
It sure is.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
On that note,
You asked a question. I gave you an answer.
now fortunately, everything else about the mini set is gonna just steamroll Quest Mage. But yes, this is, should they nerf it all to be slow again, and Quest Mage returns, this will absolutely be in there. Yeah.
So, well, and worst case, things are dust. Also, don't forget to dust any extra copies you have of the nerfed cards or just the cards in general. You can always recraft them. Unless it's signature, of course. I don't know if any of these are signature that got nerfed, but
You can search on refund in the collection manager to get all of them. So make sure to do that. And then you can always recraft them later. Just go dust them now before you forget while they're still eligible for the dust refund.
I will say, so they have this little thing here, Year of the Scarab class sets, and it shows you Cataclysm, and then it did Druid, Hunter, Mage, Paladin, Violet Hold, and then Priest, Rogue, Warlock, Warrior. They told us earlier that Death Knight is getting 2, which I was like, well, that makes sense with Death Knight having runestones and sort of having these different strategies. They say they're both in the next one. That does not make sense to me. At this point, am kind of leaning towards. I don't know if Reddit has brought.
Oh, are
this
you
up
a monk
again.
truther now? Is that what's happening?
I might be a monk truther now. It feels to me like that putting two Death Knight things in the same thing, like just I don't buy it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Edward did say, Edward aka Gallon, in the dev update video, specifically said not only 2 Death Knight class sets, but 2 Death Knight class sets about different runes.
Okay. All right.
So
all right.
If this is a bit, they are committing hard to the lying here. So that makes me think it probably isn't.
Like, I guess there's a way that it would make sense, right? It's just like if Death Knight fits the particular theme of the class set, and then you're just doing it in a variety of ways. I guess there's a way where that makes sense. It just feels like if you were really wanting to like have a secret, that's what you would say. We'll see.
You can absolutely have a blood control class set and an unholy aggro
for sure.
class set in the same release at the same time, and they would feel like 2 different classes.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely a way to do that.
I guess my thinking in terms of that not making sense from like a player experience perspective is that then feels like only 3 class. I mean, it truthfully is still only 3 classes getting stuff, even if they're different strategies, even if they appeal to different types of Death Knight players. You know, for people who, you know, don't like Death Knight or whatever, it's like, great, well, now half of this isn't for me instead of just a quarter of it.
Yeah, I suppose that they might be, because then otherwise it feels like Death Knight has its time in the sun twice. It's just kind of weird regardless of what happens.
Arguments both ways, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I just have this like nagging thing that's like, oh, well, now I wonder if they're pulling one over on us. I don't know.
You can make anything feel bad if you're committed hard enough to it.
I'm not saying it feels bad. I'm just saying I'm suspicious.
I'm going to be able to tell when certain people in our Discord reach this part of the show, because as each of them gets there, they'll post "Monk mentioned" in Hearthstone Hangout.
Yeah.
I genuinely like. I don't even know how Monk plays. I don't know what you do if that's a real thing.
It's fine. It'll be Evoker anyway. It won't be Monk. It's fine.
Look, I'm down for Evoker. I don't know how Evoker is different from Mage either, but yeah, it just feels like if you were trying to keep it a secret in the same year that you're doing class sets, this is how you would do it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Can I be realistic for a second?
Sure.
Just to get off of like the conspiracy theory, and just like, if they are going to introduce a new class, they have to give it a core set.
That's true.
Right? And you're setting up a whole new class and giving it a core set in like a mini set. That's like so many cards. I cannot possibly see how they would do that in the middle of a meta. You would have to do that at the beginning of a meta.
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. Right. They would introduce, we'll find out at BlizzCon whether there's one or not. Right. That's when you would announce that news. So we will know.
I'm saying is that, you're saying that they would, your conspiracy theory is that they would announce a new class at BlizzCon, and then this class set would be for that instead of for Death Knight.
Right. They will announce a new class at BlizzCon and then say, hey, we lied about class sets. Or they're just not giving them a class set for this year, but that just seems weird, right? Like, why?
I think if you're going to not do it, if you're going to do that, you're not going to go this hard into saying explicitly that you're not doing it. Like you would,
very possible.
You would be coy about it, right?
I'm not insane about counting, right? Like there are.
Like if they were really doing that, they'd say, oh, well, that adds up to 12. What could possibly be happening? Like that's what they would be doing. Like they would not be. I really don't think they'd be saying, oh, well, by the way, just to cut this off at the pass, we're doing 2 Death Knight sets. They're going to have different runes. Shut up about it already. There's no way they're going to go like that explicit and that specific about it if that's what they're doing. The only way they could have been more specific about it is if they, which they probably should have done, is found a way to just do Death Knight twice first. Do that in the first set, and get it over with, and then you don't have any of the speculation despite how clear they're being about it.
All I'm
then it would have already
saying
happened.
is that if it were me and I wanted to keep a secret, that's what I would
So
do.
now we know how to face you in deception games.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm not playing Among Us with you. Like that is not happening. What was it that you wanted us to play at BlizzCon, Megasa? And I said I don't like games where you have to lie to each other. Like this is why. Like because I'm bad at it, and other people are way better at it than I am.
Oh, coup is much more fast paced. It's bluffing, not lying. It's fine.
Okay,
Don't
sure.
worry.
Yeah.
So it's polite lying. Okay.
Yomi is a bluffing game, right? Aren't fighting games bluffing games? Anyway.
Sure.
Well, I think we should probably wrap it up. We've kind of gotten into a post-show style banter, but we have many folks we'd like to thank. Check out our thanks section on the website at Concede.com. You can also find our contact info, our show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/Concede. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.concede.com. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.concede.com. Write into our email at concede@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at Concede. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/@Concede. And if you'd like some CC swag, head on over to our shop at shop.concede.com. Shout out to Contig for the sub during the show, and Coin Concedes.
Well, I guess I'll start. I'm going to Coin Concede to Gung Ho because we've almost gotten through a show without me mentioning Trails in the Sky, so we're gonna get here now. Are the people who do the localization for Trails in the Sky first chapter, and when that game released, there were a bunch of like localization issues with it that were kind of weird. Like they were mispronouncing some of the things that were pronounced differently in later games, and like they changed some of the dialogue to be a little bit weird because they like retranslated the dialogue from Japanese that didn't match like the original game. And they just released like a massive update that fixes all of it. And they didn't have to do that. Like they could have just said this is the way that it is now, but they actually went back and like re-recorded voice lines and changed all the dialogue in the game, which there is a lot of. It is like a whole novel that goes into the localization for these games, which is why it took them so long to come out in this country in the first place. And I'm very excited at it when you actually do launch the game, you'll be able to hear the correct dialogue and the correct pronunciations of things like, I mean, it was like the name of the country that the game takes place in, they were mispronouncing in the first one. And it's like it's called liberal, but they were pronouncing it liberal, like throughout the whole game, when it's been pronounced it liberal in like other games since then.
Wait, the Japanese vocals were mispronouncing it?
No, the American, the English ones.
I'm never gonna hear those. That's
oh, okay. Well, you'll be able to see it, but you'll also be able to read the translated text.
That's true.
Which they did change like there's some examples of like where they just didn't sound like the characters as much, and now they sound much more like the characters from the original.
Gotcha.
Game, so.
Gotcha.
I'm really impressed with that kind of commitment to go back because they didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
Like they could have just left it that way and said this is the way that it is, but they actually went back and like a year later and went through and retranslated all that, which is a big deal and probably not cheap. And then just released it as a free update.
Well, in that vein, I finally got around to playing Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. And while I am sad that Balthier and the Dark Knight class from the PlayStation version, which were in the iOS versions as well, are not in this remaster, because the creator was like, we wanted it to be a true, reliving the experience of the PlayStation 1 game. Get out of here. Add in the fun new stuff. But anyway, they also redid the dialogue. I mean, obviously, full vocals, which is new. That was not, right? Yeah. The English voice acting's fine. This one, I was curious to hear the English. But the writing being redone, again, that translation, much easier to follow the story, and it's a really, like, I knew it was a pretty good story before. It's really good now. Like the TLDR on Ivalice in Final Fantasy Tactics is they're coming off of a 50-year war against a neighboring nation, after which the common people kind of got wrecked, right? Like they didn't get paid. And there's these bandits that you're kind of fighting as the main character who's of a noble house, and he comes out of Act 1 like, am I the bad guy? And the whole story is kind of him turning against his family name and trying to save the world and getting zero renown for it. He's labeled a heretic by the church. He's like trying to find because a new war starts, and like he's trying to figure out who's behind this new war. You fight otherworldly creatures, I'll say, to not give spoilers. If you have not played Final Fantasy Tactics, play Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a really good game. It's the best Final Fantasy. Yeah, it's and because of the new translation, like you can really fully get everything that's going on, where I feel like certain things were kind of lost before. The English vocals are just kind of funny. I think the same guy, or at least the same accent, is used a little bit too much, but it is enjoyable. And yeah, I've played Final Fantasy Tactics a couple of times, and it's still it still gets me, and especially with the story being re-clarified. I like. There's also, they have like archives and like so much reading material and lore about this world in a way that I feel like isn't always the case. That I'm just like, I could make a tabletop role-playing game setting like with this, just like file off the serial numbers and do the exact same, like here's the history of what happens, here's the different factions, and I think it would be quite good and for political intrigue kind of thing.
Oh, wait till you play Trails in the Sky. Because if you think
I'll
there's that much for that, like
yeah. My other quicker Concede is James Introcaso, lead designer of Draw Steel, and now also Crows, which is on backer kit now. I backed it at a very high level. You do not need to do that, but if you are interested in dungeoneering tabletop role-playing game, he doesn't explicitly call it OSR. If you know, you know. It is. If you like the game Darkest Dungeon, James Introcaso has turned Darkest Dungeon into a tabletop role-playing game. That's what he's done. I don't know if he would describe it that's what he did. He took some of the world stuff of Dark Sun, where it's like post-apocalypse, wizards destroyed the world with magic, and magic is kind of alive and chaotic, and then said, here's a town that you can improve over the course of the game, and every time someone dies, they can provide a benefit to like future characters, and they will die.
That's not bleak. Okay,
and
cool.
you go out and explore dungeons because you're crows and you want shiny things. And there's this thing where like the monsters don't have names. You just, as the GM, the ref, you show the characters the picture, and you're like, this is what you see. What do you name this monster? But also, you shouldn't fight the monsters. Fighting is a fail state. just grab the treasure and go.
Wow.
Yeah, it solves a lot of the problems that my brother and I sometimes have with OSR games and role-playing games generally. Main one being like, they eliminate what's called the null result, which is where like, you miss and nothing happens. Well, here, if you miss, they hit you. But also, if they miss, you hit them. So like, it goes both ways. Just looks really, really clean. The play test is available for free at the moment from the backer kit. I really, really respect this company, MCDM. They pay their freelancers and their employees quite well. And James Introcaso is a long-time designer for D&D, for MCDM. Like he's very experienced, and I think I think they've got something special on their hands. So if that's your cup of tea, check it out.
Well, I actually did like play some Darkest Dungeon, but I don't know if I would. I don't know. It might feel different in a tabletop setting, but with the right group, I could definitely see it. Well, I will do a different kind of coin concede. I will coin concede to all of my siblings. I have my brother, who I mention a lot, who is my twin and full sibling. He and I had sort of, because I was away for our actual birthday, we kind of had like a belated birthday. I got him the starter decks that Hat recommended for Illustrals because I thought he's trying to get me to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I am like aggressively uninterested in playing Yu-Gi-Oh!
Same.
Probably
but
for the best. Yeah.
he undermines it. I've been told this is a very Yu-Gi-Oh! Player thing to do. He'll be like, you should play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then in the next breath tell me all the things that are terrible about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
This is not a very effective way to get me to play it. But I was like, there's this game called Illustrals where you can kind of combo stuff out, but the mana is your health. So we'll be trying that out. He got me Age of Mythology Retold because that was our game when we were kids. We were seriously into Age of Mythology, so now we can play that too. So hopefully we'll have some good sibling time. And then also to my half siblings who live up in Portland, I was able to really spend a lot of good time with them. When I was up there, my sister handmade me some jewelry, which was super nice of her. Yeah, it was just really nice to spend some time with them and have more of a sort of like adult relationship with them. So, and see, I am actually a great aunt because my niece, who is like my age, has a baby now, who's very cute. So.
Did you just pronounce that like Moira Rose? From Schitt's Creek?
Bebe.
Yeah.
Yes. That I'm gonna blame my friend Jocelyn. She says that, or maybe it's my mother. I honestly don't even know. I'll pick up phrases or pronunciations from people. I think that's my mom actually. And like I don't even know who originally said this, but now I'm doing it, I guess. So
fair enough. All right, well that's going to do it for us for this week. So until next time, keep calm and fire the cannons. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
All life must end. I yield for now. I concede. Well fought. I concede.
You win this one.
The victory is yours.
You have bested me.
I give up.
You win this one, friend.